He goes, if I was sitting in this room and you guys were standing outside and I said, VaynerMedia, I need you to sit right next to me, I know you guys would do it. He goes, where I think you need to be more thoughtful, Gary, is I have a feeling though that you might run through that glass panel and sit with us when you could have just opened the fucking door. And I said, yeah, but which one was cooler?
Where and how you spend your time, knowing how valuable and how limited your time is.
Oh, God, I'm really happy you're asking this question, because if you can internalize what I'm about to say, you will not believe what it's about to do for you. The answer is the ability not to judge myself. You know how a lot of times, there's a lot of people there's a really dirty secret in the strategy world of like Bain and McKinsey, where if you really get them drunk, they admit that the actions lead to the strategy, not the other way around. That's my answer to you. How? I make decisions. And then I try to look at my calendar the week ahead and see if any decisions I made 4 weeks earlier that made me think this was a good use of time. Am I able to move something, cut something down? I'm extremely thoughtful about cutting times of meetings. So one of the things I think that really make me successful is understanding a 7-minute meeting is real, and not just making it a 30-minute meeting. But the real reason is because I don't overthink it. I'm operating my business, I'm in it. How do I decide between going to dinner with Kevin Hart because I can and I want to build top of the funnel brand, or do I go take a mid-level client that I'm trying to build a relationship with? It's, you ask every normal person, it seems like those aren't super close, but I can touch the pulse and be like, I'm going to LA 4 more times in the next 3 months. The biggest mistakes I make are the ones of missed opportunities of the things by being crippled by opportunity. When you actually level that all up, my friend, it really is liberating. You will never even come close to making the right decision. I mean it. You just don't know what the alternative would be. People think that there's a right answer. You as an operator of your business, make the right call that feels right at that moment and just move. And people spend all this time and money on trying to think that there's a proper answer. I play on the extremes. I spend as much time as possible on the things that are showing me the most offense, right? However you're doing your customer acquisition to get to a hundo on a product like that, like whether it's Facebook, whether it's brand, and then I spend the amount of time on my biggest vulnerability. Putting my finger in the holes to make sure the boat doesn't sink, and building a bigger fucking boat, and nothing in the middle. And knowing that I'm making that judgment at all times, and the second I get new data a week later, I might have to completely change what I thought was right the week before. It's also why I spend a ton of time with my employees. The reason I'm an HR-driven CEO is if you really understand this, both your biggest growth and your biggest vulnerabilities are actually your own team. So I think it starts with the ability not to overjudge yourself, because that is the liberator of the model I just broke down for you.
But even the items that you may have scheduled out 4 weeks in advance, you still sit down at the beginning of that week to reevaluate.
At our best, which I don't do all the time, my admins and I are doing some sort of version of an audit on Friday. Okay.
Because you find yourself in that paralysis of where are you spending your time on the most valuable activities?
I don't think that way, and listen, I'm in the mix for top busy people. I'm in the conversation. I go hard for 15 hours a day, I do 7-minute meetings, I'm fucking in the conversation. And I easily spend 25% of my day on things that end up being dumb shit. That is where the speed comes in. Got it? Yeah. If I spend time looking back at my calendar for the last month, I'd be devastatingly sad. People judge themselves. If you're an operator and you're in the mix on your business, you made the best decision you could at that moment with the data that you had. The end. Was it to go to a Kroger's meeting, or was it to go meet a supplier of milk, or to go meet an influencer who was destined to be the one that broke you out? All three sounds right to me. And they all could end up being right or could end up being wrong. My thing is if you go super fast and go super hard and super efficient, you might be able to do all three if you're not spending half your time judging yourself if you're getting it right. Got it?
Great point.
You see where I'm going?
I do.
You wouldn't be here. Maybe that's what you needed today. Like you would have this whole day back. Just even in there's no way I do this. That's not how I learn. Now you may learn this way, but there's never a chance in hell that I'd ever be at a 4Ds. Because I learn from so much doing. That's why my data is so clean. It's why I'm an innovator. It's why I'm fast. It's why a lot of good things happen for me, because I realized just the doing is actually more efficient than the thinking about it. Somebody said something really funny to me once, and it was like the dig of this version, and it's a really funny conversation. He was talking about VaynerMedia at the time. This was maybe 5 or 6 years ago. He said, you know, Gary, I gotta tell you, I love your company, but I gotta take a little bit of a knock on you. He was trying to set it up. I'm like, okay, what is it? He goes, where I think you need to be more thoughtful, Gary, is I have a feeling though that you might run through that glass panel and sit with us when you could have just opened the fucking door. And I said, yeah, but which one was cooler? You know, and so the answer to that is like, I think what that gentleman didn't understand in his analogy as a critique was he was trying to have an intellectual conversation about something that all of our businesses will be super fun to talk about in a Harvard business study or around a campfire in 40 years with our grandkids when we can pontificate but we're operating right now. That. Got it? It will work. You can't imagine how much mind time is actually being wasted if you're thinking about that question. It's crippling. I mean it. I have a lot of empathy for it. And I'm really like, that's why, I don't normally pause before my answer. I was super pumped you asked that because it's one of the biggest answers I've gotten in my repertoire. And if I can, because I'm a good communicator, if this is the moment and you get momentum on this, you'll be back in a year and be like, it was just that. I didn't realize how much that was affecting me. And that makes you then faster. Then all of a sudden, you can see where this goes, right? Yeah. All of a sudden, because you're doing this thing that's foreign to you, fuck it, Gary said, let me try this week. All of a sudden, you're like, fuck, but I want to get this up. And all of a sudden, that 30-minute meeting becomes 16. All of a sudden, that meeting, you just cancel and you do it the next day. You turn it into a call on the way there. I'm the manifestation at this point of being in my prime of something I've now done for 22 years. Tomorrow I turn 44, so I'm right there. 22 years of not running a business, and 22 years of now running businesses completely always, and now I'm in this state where like, I feel really, unstoppable because it's like you're just at the extreme version of, it's like working out every day for 20, you're in a different place. I'm in a real crescendo of like this model, and it really works. It's practical.
You don't beat yourself up over mistakes?
No.
Yeah.
Because everyone else is doing it for me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We just can't. I really do think business is much more like sport. It's really funny. I used to always think that. It always made sense that I like both. Now I hear things back to being in the prime. You hear things of like a quarterback saying, I just got to go to the next play. I know I threw 2 picks in a row. And he's right. I'm like, I used to hear it as a fan, I'm like, fuck you fucking threw 2 picks, I'm pissed. Like I thought about it. Now I'm like, that's exactly right. Like I can make 7 bad decisions. As long as I don't put us out of business. No, really, it's that binary. It's a funny thing to say, but to your point and to like mine, as long as I don't put us out of business, I'm like, I hate that I made that call, Mm-hmm. I prefer not to.
Yeah.
I wish it didn't happen, but it did. And I've learned from it. I don't need to like beat myself up to learn from it. I learned from it. I understand that I over leveraged our ice cream business to too much retail and gave them too much leverage, and now when they kicked me out, I'm in trouble and I should have built my direct-to-consumer business. Right? Mm-hmm. It's not super complicated.
Yeah.
And speed becomes your ally when you're able to move.
Bro, and you'll love this.
Yeah.
One thing that business and fucking sports share that nobody talks about, speed over everything. There's a reason the Chiefs are good right now. They figured it out. Draft speed. It's not teachable.
To your point, though, you find often you're in situations where you have to make snap decisions. I can choose to do this, or I can choose to do that, and you're only basing it on the available data.
Correct. I don't even need to do any homework. It's why I'm always improv. I'm fucking operating my business. I can make a decision right now. It's the lack of judgment, right? You see how that's kind of frothy, but you're like, oh right, that makes sense. Because if you choose, and then it was super obvious 6 months later that you should have went triple retail instead of doing diet milk, making up shit now. Well, okay, but what? I think people think they're gonna do some they value process. When you're dealing with the actual consumer, they're moving as fast as you are.
Faster.
Not with me, that's why I'm win, right? Like I feel like I'm with them. I'm day trading. My decisions are in day trade mode. And people think that they overvalue what they were taught in school, the process. You know how many more decisions you can make when you're not in the process of one? And then what ends up happening is you net win, because that mistake you made was offset by 4 other good decisions you made.